Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back for another episode. And today you are in for a treat, mainly because I'm in for a treat. And I'm visiting today with Ari Tulla. Ari has a different background than many of the listeners to this podcast, but I think it's going to lead to a fascinating discussion on multiple passions he has and that I have. And we're going to talk about healthcare, and we're not quite sure where it's going to go. So, with that nondescript and long winded introduction, Ari, first of all, welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to visit with me today.
Hey, thank you, Tom. Great to be here.
All right, could you tell us a little bit about your professional background?
Yeah, happy to. I'm a native Finn, like we discussed earlier, and coming from the northern country in Europe that most people never visited. Don't go there in the winter; it's very cold. But yeah, I've been in tech for a long time, so I was very lucky as a kid. I was handed my dad's old computer when I was maybe 6 years old in the early '80s, and then he was able to wire my computer later up with the internet in early '90s. I was able to access the web before most people have heard about it. And that was before we invented the World Wide Web or the websites that you maybe use today. And that led me into the world of video games. I spent about a decade in building games and playing games. And then that let me become an entrepreneur in the end, in the tech sector. And years later, I found a new passion in healthcare. So about 13 years ago, I started my first healthcare company in the US, in Silicon Valley. And now I'm running my third. And I think I'm going to be next 25 years, I'm going to spend in the world of healthcare. And I have my goal in life that is to really build things that can make people's lives better. And sometimes you succeed, sometimes you not. It's always exciting.
Your current role, I think, is definitely going to make not simply healthcare better, but the lives of people. So, why don't you tell us about your current role and the current company or your most recently founded company?
Yeah, 3 years ago, I started a company called ELO. We are building a thing called smart nutrition. I don't know if it means anything to you, but we think that nutrition could be a backbone of healthcare. And I think we all know that we are getting sick as a nation, as a society, because of the diet we eat. Half of the people today are starting to be obese. 50, 80 years ago, that was maybe 5%. So we're doing something wrong. And with the company, our idea is that we are taking data from our body. So think about, I have an Apple Watch, I have an Oura Ring, I have a Whoop. You don't need that many. I'm a geek in that sense. So that data you can take and then use also other things like your blood biomarkers. We do at-home blood testing that you send to our lab. We test that. And then, of course, we also do like a health questionnaire. So we try to understand about you, what's wrong and where do you want to go? And then based on that, we use AI models to build the right plan for you. And I think the unique thing we have done at ELO, we don't give you a PDF or a list of things you have to do. We are sending you the nutrition right on your doorsteps based on your blood biomarkers, based on your device data from your recovery, sleep, activity, heart rate, even weight, blood pressure, whatever you have available. And then we are trying to build a modality where we can help you either not get sick in the first place, or maybe in a medium term also help reverse the chronic conditions that many of us have, like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and others. They are lifestyle born, and they can also be changed and eradicated by changing lifestyle. And our idea really was behind it that we wanted to go smart. Back in the days, I used to work at a small Finnish company called Nokia. And I was in the team that invented the first smartphone, I don't know, almost 20 years ago. That was before iPhone and Android. First device you can do emails, you can take photos and video and browse the web. Not very well. Anyway, a little bit. And that was the moment when we really built these things that got me to understand about what it takes to build a smart device. The smart devices, think about today, your iPhone, your home, your Tesla, your watch, many things. They are smart because they are personalized to you. They are your thing. Your phone is the most personal thing you have in your life. You have your contacts there, you have your photos, your videos, your loved ones, you communicate with them. Very personal. Same with the Tesla. You love the fact that you go in there in a car with your phone and it will move the seat in the right position. It will move the mirrors in the right position. Even the music will be playing is my music. Very personal. Smart is also precise. It's high tech. It's the latest things you can get and something that is very scientifically grounded. And then lastly, I think smart is also proactive. It gets better all the time. Your phone gets better all the time. Your car learns about you. Your home learns about your Nest thermostat learns about you. So we are trying to do the same thing for nutrition. Make it personal to you, made to order, trying to make it precise, grounded in real science, real facts. And then finally, making it proactive. So think about it get better over time. It will help you more. And we haven't done this yet, but I hope in a moment we're going to do also meals and stuff like that. You think about in a meal, what if the food you get will get better tasting over time? It will have a better impact on your health. That's a cool idea. So I'm trying to coin this new idea, smart nutrition.
Let me see if I could translate that to compliance speak. What I heard was assess your risks with your data, put together a risk management strategy. That's the AI that you and ELO bring for the individual user. Monitor that strategy going forward and then engage in continuous improvement as appropriate. Would that be a fair assessment?
That's perfect. 100%. Well done.
So the why is obviously athletes have been looking at their performance data for generations, probably hundreds of, not thousands of years. People have started maybe 50 years ago considering the nutritional components of what we eat. Why has it taken until literally maybe 10 years ago to start melding those two pieces of data to move, as you say, let me see if I get this right, move food from a leading cause of disease to medicine?
Yeah, there was a famous person called Hippocrates 2000 years ago who said that be food, die medicine. We don't know. The Twitter was not invented, so we can't go back to his tweets, but let's assume he said that. Many of the quotes from the history 2000 years ago are maybe not right, but anyway. So I think we have known this for a long time, that because if you think about our exposure to the world around us, we have sun, we have toxins that we breathe. Smoke is a problem now in the Bay Area and in California especially, and in New York as well this year. That's going to be a pollutant. But if you think about what are we really doing, we are stuffing stuff into our mouth every day, multiple pounds, and we poop it out or pee it out. So that this sort of stuff comes through us all the time. So of course the food will have a big impact on this body we have and our health. And of course with the food, we consume things like a lot of heavy metals, toxins, whatnot. That has an impact. But we also consume now food that is not really food as it was before. Most of the food people eat today is highly processed. It's made in a factory. It is fortified by using fat, sugar, and salt. And those are magical combinations that are very addictive. Some studies say that sugar can be as addictive as heroin. We don't snack heroin for fun. We know you're going to get addicted to it, or fentanyl or whatnot. It is drug that we have invented. And we are now in a world where, yes, we have inflation. The price of food and stuff is going up. We all hate that. But you have to be realistic and thinking about it. We spend still today less on food than we have ever spent in the history of man. I mean, food is very low cost today. We used to spend about 20-30% on food of our income. Today we spend 5%. So we have an unbelievably effective system of feeding 7 billion people on the planet. We have a surplus of about 30-40% of food today that we are throwing away into the garbage. So we could feed 10 billion people easy today with the current food system. But it's effective on doing it at a low cost, but it's not very effective at giving us the right type of food that would also keep our body healthy. Because humans are evolving very slowly. We were monkeys not long ago. And now we are changing with the tech, with the systems we built for food, for example, that the intake is starting to be very different than we used to have. We were looking for the sugar. We were like, our body is made to take sugar and turn it fat for the day when we don't have food. When we were foraging or hunter-gatherers, we ate maybe 3 or 4 times a week. We didn't eat 6 times a day and then we snack all the time, so we worried about being hungry. So we are doing it very wrongly today. And maybe our bodies will evolve over time, but it will likely take 20,000 years. And we don't really have 20,000 years. We have like maybe 100 years before we have everybody is obese and can't walk. So something has to be done. It's a very difficult problem to solve because it's not going to only require us to do better. It also requires us to change the whole system of food. It likely will involve things like taxation on things that like are not good for you. It maybe involves education to kids. It will say we need to change the way how the kids eat at school. Very hard problem. And I'm trying to just make it easier because us here who are listening, we have money to buy these devices. And If you buy, and I believe that the tech can help and gamify it. If you have devices that are telling you that something you are doing right today is wrong, and your question is about why only 10 years ago, we have now just been able to measure our body and the impact of food. Yes, we know we don't feel great, but if you get your watch saying that don't do this, then you will do something about it. And now you have a glucose monitor, for example, I wear. So you have a glucose monitor in your arm that is measuring my glucose in real time. And when you eat I eat pizza or I eat rice or whatnot, I'm going to spike for 2 hours. It will tell you, don't do that again. And I won't. But we haven't had that ability before.
Many of the products you serve seem to be targeted towards athletes, whether it's professional athletes or others, who understand their body is their tool and they have to maximize the performance of their body. Does the message you just articulated go, is it being received, I should say, beyond pro athletes to even weekend warriors or just average people as well?
Most people who buy our products today are normal people, average people, not even weekend warriors. I think there is you're very right that the pro athletes or the people who focus on performance. I think from the days of gladiators, they probably have gladiators. Many of them were vegetarians because they were trying to be. You're going to go to the field and you're either going to die or not. So you're going to optimize, and they wanted to look great also. So they wanted to be like lean and badasses. So I think we have done that for a long time, and there's a lot of learning we get when we work with our partners who are these super athletes, these superhuman beings. And we also have people who work with the key select sport teams. So we have, for example, one person that I'm really excited to have on board is the nutrition lead for Golden State Warriors. And she's also working with cycling teams who are going to Tour de France and stuff like that. And if you can do like Tour de France, a month of cycling, 5 hours a day, that's unbelievably hard to do. And you have to be in an unbelievable shape even to survive that. And she's bringing some of that insight that they have at the very top of the fraction of a percent on people. And we are trying to take that and then bring it to normal people. And for me, I'm still an athlete. I try to perform at the decent level. But for me, it's more like I want to be a corporate warrior. I want to be, my brain is my temple. I want to do everything I can to have energy, to be able to come up with the great ideas, to be a great leader, to be at least a good husband, and I hope a good father. And that is important for me. Like I want to have the energy at 7 p.m. to read the bedtime story and be excited about it, and then go maybe have a bit of work after that. So that is important for me and most people. So performance is not only about on the track or on the field, but also at your work, because we all want to be improving, getting better. We want to be seen as good, contributing people in the world.
The current company that you run is really one part of the passion you bring to the overall healthcare industry and a healthy lifestyle. Could you go back and tell us what got you interested in this and moved it from simply an interest to a passion, and how that is you have evolved in working in and around the healthcare space and startups?
Yes, I have a very different background than many people who work in healthcare. I got early on into the coolest business in the world, which is making games. There's no cooler stuff than making games. It's super fun. I mean, I still love every moment I had in that field, and we still with my family we invest into companies in that space because we just love the space. And my story goes long back in I think year 2000. My wife, then girlfriend, she had this surprise that she was touching her neck and found out that she had a fist-sized tumor on her neck, and her thyroid was basically big as a fist. And that was like, what the heck? We are 20 something, we are very young, healthy, athletic, and out of nowhere you have this thing that we started to think about mortality, about what can we do about this. And luckily it was taken away in a way that there wasn't anything long term from that tumor perspective. But then it also took the other thyroid almost out, and then you had two, but the other one didn't work perfectly or compensate perfectly. So she was put in this purgatory of autoimmune disease, hormonal imbalances, and she was medicated with the type of cocktail that made it impossible to get pregnant. We didn't really think about that much. You're young, you are thinking about your life ahead of you, you don't think kids. But over the years, it started to drag on us because I found my mate, my soulmate, my love. And then I wanted to have a family. And we were really thinking that we don't want to be alone. We want to have a family. And we spent about a decade on trying to find a solution on her issue. And we worked with a lot of different doctors. We worked with different type of healthcare practitioners. And in the end, we found somebody who guided us to change our diet. We were already pretty healthy, but we went into this diet that no meat, no wheat, no sugar type of stuff, almost like a keto type of diet that is now used a lot in autoimmune diseases. And that was quite a while ago, so it wasn't really known then. But that diet was able to lower her inflammation in the body and heal the body. And we were able to get her out of these medications. And in the end, we were able to get pregnant. It took a while. We had to do IVF and all this stuff, as many people do when you get pregnant older age. Then that happens, and we were like surprised and excited. And after all this struggle, we get here. And then we had this drama that happened out of the blue. Our first son then died. And it's 15 years of struggle to get where you want to be, and then it's taken away from you at the last moment. And that was the time when I decided that I really want to spend my time in healthcare. And I wanted to focus on problems that I faced with my wife. Like we had a hard time finding healthcare, the right doctor, for example. So I started a company called Better Doctor that today is helping, 100 million people every year to find a doctor. So pretty cool to build something on your own problem and then help a lot of people who are in the same struggle. And then, of course, the food, it became medicine for us because today we have 2 healthy kids. My son is behind me there as a photo. But they made us whole in a way. So food is medicine for me, and my kids remind me every day of that. So that I do this because I think I found a meaning and a calling almost in a world where, we were very broken with my wife when we, lost our first son. And this is going to be an amending process for us to build companies and help other people via it, and also invest in startups who are building new ideas in the space of healthcare.
So very purpose-driven investment. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, and not investment of my time. And because we only have so much time on this earth, I hope we could extend it a bit longer, but I don't think we know yet. But I really think every day, can I make most out of it? So if you look at my screensaver here, it says now that what is the most important thing? I always think, what is the most important thing I can do today and at that moment to have an impact in the world and do the things I think are important? And people talk about passion, people talk about meaning of life, whatnot. I'm a very pragmatist, a Finn coming from this type of very cold environment. And often I just say, they tell people that the passion and all these things, it just depends that are you good at lying at yourself? And I'm really good at lying to myself. I'm able to tell myself that the narrative I'm in is the narrative I should be in. And when you know any given day why you are doing what you are doing, you have a superpower that very few people have. And I have had that for the last at least 15 years. And that's been the catalyst for me to be able to do maybe more stuff than many other people do.
I heard you mention the access to healthcare, and now you've wedded that concept with the data concept at ELO. Would that also be fair assessment of where you are today?
So I think the first company, the idea was simple that I came from Europe. I lived in different countries, and we were in healthcare systems that were usually the European model where you go to healthcare and they give you a doctor. You don't really pick a doctor. So it's easier in the sense that you go there and you get what you get. In the US, if you have a good health insurance, you can go to a million different doctors. How do you find the right one? And I was mightily struggling on that. So it really became a play of data and a play of transparency. How do we take and what do you want? What are you looking for? And how do we then look at the system? Like, how do we know who are the right doctors who do, let's say, simple example, you do a knee replacement. How do you find doctors who have done that the most often? How many times they have done it? Where did they were educated? Did they specialize on that for too long? How is the team that they work with? How are the outcomes? So we're pulling all that data together slowly over the years. And we were able to build a system that we were able to give you a list of doctors who are really good at doing knee replacements. And then we were able to get you funneled into connecting with them, even online booking in some cases. So transparency. And I think now what we are doing for the nutrition is the same thing. It's about bringing more transparency into this equation. Like, for example, the first product we launched was blood biomarker based supplementation. You get a pill pack a daily packet of pills that are customized to you, your body, your data, your biomarkers. And then every quarter we test you again, and then you get a new optimized product. We found out after we had some thousands of people coming through that most people, we always ask what you do today. Most people were taking things that were harmful. So it's not only that sometimes offering people the better stuff, but also telling people not to do what they do today. 120 million people today in the US are taking supplements. None of them know if they take the right ones. So we wanted to bring transparency into that one problem. It's not about solving the whole nutrition or making food to medicine. Those are just pills that optimize you. But it was you can find these issues in every market, and you can make things 10 times better if you make them right. And that's what we try to do at ELO as well.
Where do you see this industry 5 or maybe even 10 years down the road?
So my belief is that, and why I'm doing this today is that I really believe that in a decade from now, we're gonna have a system where the healthcare and the food system will start to collide. And we will start seeing more and more healthcare providers prescribe people nutrition. And it means that you could, if you are type 2 diabetic and you are really on a pathway to get really sick, you might be having legs amputated or whatnot. You might not only get insulin, but you also might get food delivery. So reimbursing people the right food and delivering to their homes might be the better way to treat people than giving people more medication. And definitely it would be a lower cost way of doing it. Because we already spend money on food, and many people know here who are listening that medications are very expensive. Sometimes your health plan is paying for them. But now, right today, we have a very interesting trend happening where we invented as an industry and as an industry of medicine, new drugs called CL1s. These are the new weight loss drugs, Bagoo and Ozempic and others, you might have heard the names. And these are unbelievably effective at suppressing your appetite. When you have those medications, you will eat less because you don't want to eat. And they seem to also help you on other addictions like gambling or even drug addictions or even opioid epidemic. But the point is that you eat these drugs, you will eat less. When you stop eating the drugs, you will get the same weight in about 6 months. So we are such an interesting animal, if you think about the human, that we always want to take the magic pill instead of doing the behavior change or change the way we live. And that's what we're trying to do at ELO a bit, that can we make the behavior change so easy that it is better than the life you had before? And that's what, like, as an example, I love the analog of Tesla. Tesla is not just a good electric car. It's a freaking better car than your old car. We buy it not because it's electric, because it's a better car. I came from the mountains Sunday. I had 3 kids with me, the 9-year-olds, and we drove all the way with the self-driving function. And the kids were like, they were loving it every moment. I didn't touch the steering wheel more than 5 times. So that's a better car than my old car that couldn't drive itself. Can we do the same thing now for different things like food? Could we make the food taste better, be more convenient, and be healthier and better for you?
Ari, unfortunately, we are near the end of our time for this episode. But before we leave, I wanted to ask you if our listeners wanted any more information on your company or yourself, where would be the best place or places for them to go?
Totally. If you are interested in performing at the high level on your brain or physically or just feeling better, go check out elo.health. Elo.health is the website, and we are available in every state in the US. And you can buy better supplementation, smart supplements based on blood testing. You can buy powders that are based more on recovery or depending what you want, proteins, electrolytes, and stuff like that. So would love to get feedback if you try it out.
Ari, I wanted to thank you again for taking the time to visit with me, as this has been one of the most fascinating episodes I've recorded in quite some time. And I hope we can continue this conversation.
Cool. Thank you so much.